string with repeat limit. So you are given a string s and an integer repeat limit. So construct a new string, repeat limited string using the characters of s. So for example, let's say you can say here, suppose this is our string. Okay, so if this is our string and repeat limit is given like 3, so that means we have to construct an string which is the largest in such a way that the characters from this string should not exceed more than this repeat limit 3 consecutively. Okay, so it should be largest, but it should not repeat consecutively 3. Okay, whatever repeat limit. So in this case, what will happen? Which is the largest value here? Z, right? Z is the biggest value, but it is only 2. That means even if it is 2, first of all we have to put Z and Z. Okay, then what is the next? Next is C, right? Next is smaller is C, but C is 4 times, but our repeat limit is 3 times. So we can put the only 3 here. So let me put it 3 here. So Z, Z, C, C and C. We cannot pick all 4 because repeat limit is 3 only. Then what to do? Then we have to put a character here, this A, right? Because we cannot put C consecutively, so let me put it here. So I am putting here A. Now after doing this, I have to take again the greatest value, because from this place. So what is the remaining? So we have C, right? A is already used, so we can put here C. Now I would have got one idea, but this is very simple case. There could be some multiple cases as well. For example, if let's say what I'm doing here, let's say we have another Z. Okay, so let me remove this comma. We have one more Z and we have one more Z like this. Okay, so in this case, what would be the answer? In this case, first of all is Z is coming here now 4 times, right? So if Z is coming 4 times and our repeat limit is 3, so first of all we will take the largest value, that is Z, right? So 3Z we would put, but we have still one more Z. But now because we need the largest guy, largest string, so now we have 4C, right? This is the next smaller character, so we can pick 1C here, right? So after putting this 1C, we are done with the this limit. So now we can again repeat our Z because we still have Z, right? So we will put our Z like this. So now our all Z's are done. So now we have next 3 more C. Yeah, next is smaller is 3 more C we are left, right? 1C we have used. So now what we can do is we will put 3C consecutively here, right? So Z, 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 C, Z and then triple C, and then finally we will put A. Okay, so we have to just keep this kind of scenario. So this is what we have to do. Now I'll tell you how to do that. Okay, so you guys would be seeing here I have put one count array. Okay, so you know in the question the all characters would be smaller letter, right? Not capital. So that means we have only 26 characters. So what I have done here is I just created a counter array of 26 size starting from 0 till 25. So what we will do is we will take this string and we will keep the frequency of all of them. So for example, A came 1 time. Okay, you can consider this A as smaller. Okay, so A came 1 time, so I will put the frequency here 1. Similarly, C would be coming 4 times, so here this frequency would be 4. Similarly, Z came 4 times, so at 25 Z would be there, right? So 4 times it will be, right? So now we have got the remaining values are 0 only by default, right? Whoever is not appearing, that would be 0 only. Now what will happen is, what we will do is we will take 2 variable. Okay, so let's say I'm calling it current. So we are starting from right. Why I'm starting from right? Because we are constructing the largest string, and that also should be within these limits. Okay, so here what is the frequency is 4 and repeat limit is 3. Okay, so we have to take minimum of them, because you can think of a situation when we have, let's say we would have only 2, let's say we had only 2 times Z. In that case we could print only 2, not this 3. So that is why I'm saying take the minimum of repeat limit and whatever is the frequency of that guy. Okay, so what is the minimum here? So minimum here is this is Z is came 4 times, but repeat limit is 3 times, so minimum is 3, right? So that means what we will do is we would be adding our resultant array. We will make a string builder SB, right? So our SB would be add this guy Z 3 times, because repeating limit is 3. So we will do it like this, Z Z Z. So 3 we have done here, so whatever was minimum we will deduct it. So 4 minus 3. So what would be the new value remaining here? New value remaining would be 1 only. So I am updating it with 1. Okay, so we are done with this limit. So once we are done with this, we have to look for the next smaller thing, because one time we have to print this guy as well. So next smaller is coming here when we are going left side. This is first non-zero value, right? 2 is the having 4, right? So what we will do is, in the case when we have still here remaining some value, that means we have to pick only one guy. You can pay attention here that if this value, after updating, if this value is still greater than 0, that means the next smaller we have to pick only one, correct? So in this case 2 is the next smaller, which is having 4, so we will pick only one of them. So 2 is indicating for C, right? So we will pick only one guy here. So let me put it here and let me update it here. So this would become 4 minus 1, because we have picked only one. So 4 minus 1, it would become now 3, correct? So now we are again here, we are still at this index current equal to 25, right? This is just an index. Okay, so we started with the very first non-zero from right side, so we got it 25, but because it is still greater than 0, so we are still at here, correct? So now because it is greater than, so what is the value? Value is 1. So what we will do is, we will again print a Z here. Okay, so let me print a Z here and we'll update this guy. So now it would become 0. Now because it has become 0, so we don't have any option to print further Z, correct? So what we will do in this scenario, we will go for the next smaller character which is having greater than 0 value. So this guy is the next smaller character, others are 0. So this has 3. So now again we will pick what is the minimum. This is 3 and repeat limit is 3. So in this case our current now updated to 2, correct? So current is now 2, because we are done at here. So now what is the minimum? This is 3, this is 3, so minimum is also 3, so that means 2. So this would be repeated 3 times, which is C. So we will print 3C here, C, C and C. So what would be the value now? We will update this value. So 3 minus 3, now this would become 0. So let me put here 0. Now once we are at 0, we will again look for the next smaller value. Okay, so see here we found 0th, right? So 0th is having only 1, so minimum is, this is repeat limit is 3 and this is 1, so minimum would be 1. So we will put A only once time. So this is the way we have to take care. So anytime when we have remaining values after doing this repeated limit, then we have to pick only one guy. Like we did 3Z here, but we still had one value. So in that case, next is smaller, we print only one. But in the case when this also becomes 0, we have to pick the next smaller element as the cur, and we will keep on repeating like this. So let me show you my corresponding code, which will again give you the better visualization of this approach. We are taking constant space and we are doing only one O of n time complexity. So you can see here, this is my code. So see here, what I have done is I have just created this count array of 26 size. This is my string builder I am using. So first of all, I am increasing the frequency of all the characters which are appearing here. Okay, now what I am doing is, I have written one method, right? We were talking about the next greater element, next smaller basically. So in this array, you know, when we called at Z, we found this guy 3 was which came, right, 2 which came initially 4 times, right? So it has frequency initially 4. So when we call this method, this is my utility method where I am passing the count array and the current index. Okay, so this will be nothing, it will give me the left side greatest value which is greater than 0. Okay, so this is just like that. We are going to the left side of this curve and it would return the first index where the value is greater than 0. So I am returning that index. This is what this method is doing. So using this method, what I am doing here, So initially I am calling the same method for this at 26, right? Because we are starting at 25, so I have to get the first non-zero values, right? In this case we found the very last only, but let's say if it was y, let's say, then it would be value here, something value. So anyway, we are first of all getting the first non-zero value starting from right, so that is why first of all I have called it with the value 26, because anyway on the left side I have to find. Okay, so where we were, yeah, so we are here. First we got the first current index where non-zero values from the right. Then what we are doing, so while this current index is greater than or equal to 0, first of all we are taking the minimum value of the repeat limit and the whatever count at that correct cur index. Just we were doing the repeat limit and the frequency minimum. So I am doing that, and then what I'm doing is I am making it that many times, whatever the frequency, that many times I'm repeating it. Then see here, I'm updating the frequency of it, so I'm deducting the whatever we have already found, so minimum value I'm deducting, right? Then what we are doing, see here, if current dot cur, I mean the frequency of the count at index cur, if it is still greater than 0, that means we have to take another next smaller index of the character which is non-zero value. So see here, if it is 0 already, I mean if it is less than 0, that means if it is negative, so if there is no more left side character which is having greater than 0 value, then this would give us, we have to break it, because we already appended the values and we don't have any more. Otherwise what we are doing, we are one time appending it, just like we did here when we printed Z, then we one time pick this C. Okay, so that is why in the code also I am doing, if it is greater than 0, okay, then I am doing only one time append of it. See here, only one time after at the current, after doing all the append. Okay, and if it is greater than 0, then what we are doing here, you can see only one time append is happening at this line. Okay, only one time, and I'm decreasing the frequency at the next index only by 1 if our current has greater than 0 value. But if that is not the case, then what we are doing, we are going our current to the next smaller value, just like we did here. When Z became 0, we came for the next smaller value, which is frequency of C. Okay, then finally we are coming out of this loop and we are returning this string builder dot toString. So let me execute my code. So I am executing my code. Yeah, so I have already anyway submitted it. So we are taking the constant space and we are doing the single traversal. So this is O of n and constant space complexity. So thank you for watching this video. If you guys have any concern, please